season does go away, and that's what my greatest fear is. You see what's going on with this coronavirus and how is it's not only affecting, our country, but the entire globe. And then you think about the social distancing that's going on. And the fact that if you are starting to flatten the curve, all that means is you're just spreading out the length of time before the virus starts to subside a little bit. Doesn't mean anybody's become immune to it. It's just started to go down as far as the number of cases. And you're talking about into the summer, maybe into the fall. I cannot imagine, unless there is a treatment that is absolutely ironclad and lockdown, or a vaccine, and certainly I don't think any vaccine is going to be ready by this fall. I think without those two things, that the season is certainly, in jeopardy. And all of a sudden you hear people say, well, you could just, find a spot where you play in front of no fans. And while in theory that sounds good, well, what about the support staff and the players? All it takes is one of them to come down with it, and then they've spread it to 2, 3, 4. Now that team is in quarantine. Are they out of the league now?
Yeah, and
they're not going to be bulletproof in this thing.
No,
even if you're without fans.
Yeah, you got to go to hotels. You got travel to do, and in fact, even if it's at a neutral site. All right, so Matt Spiegel, who's with 670 The Score out of Chicago, says he's got an informed source. If it does get to be a 100-game season, he says the season would begin on July 1st and end on October 15th. No All-Star game. The World Series would be held at a neutral, warm-weather stadium, preferably Dodger Stadium. But if the Dodgers make it to the World Series, the games would be held at either Anaheim or San Diego. Are you hearing any talk about that?
What's interesting as you put that up there, I just read part of an interview that Joe Buck had given, and he was talking about the season. Will there be baseball in 2020? He said, man, I go back and forth on this all the time. But the people that he has talked to has said that if you're going to do a season, if you're going to have a season, you got to get it going by July the 1st. And it sounds an awful lot about that graphic. Sounds like that graphic that you just put up there is that you started on July the 1st and you ramp it up. You play into October, and then you start looking at warm weather sites, for the playoffs and the World Series. So I think there's a lot of credence to that plan. And I think that that's the way that you're gonna have to get this done, because you start to go less than 100 games. That's not a major league season. That's summer ball. That's American Legion, Connie Mack, travel ball. That's playing 70, 80 games. That's not going to be a true test. Even 100 games really isn't. But at least you get to triple digits with the number of games.
Right.
But
well, the other thing.
Have to target that day.
Yeah, the other thing though is the morale of the country. We just want to. It's kind of self-centered. We want to see baseball. We want to see it, even if it's 100 games or 80 games. Even we know it's a terrible way to decide a championship. But I think for the morale of the country, we need something like that.
I think you're absolutely right. And that's why you've seen all of these sports, when they have canceled events, they've done it reluctantly. They've done it because they just simply have run out of time, and they're not going to be able to put it on, because I think everybody understands, especially baseball. It's a game of summer. It's what people look forward to. It's, spring training, everybody gets excited because guess what? Especially
it's
people
spring.
up north, people in Cleveland.
Yeah.
It's spring is getting ready, and the baseball season, and that takes us into summer. Everybody loves summer, and then even into fall. What a wonderful time of year the fall is, especially up where we live.
Yeah,
and so there is that thirst for sports, and you're just the feeling of normalcy, the feeling of two teams out there playing baseball.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, when we do get back to playing, whenever that is, I cannot imagine the goosebumps that will be had by all when you're getting ready. I know how excited I still get to broadcast these games now. Forget about being a part of them as a player, but to broadcast these games on opening day. But opening day, when this pandemic has passed us by and we're able to get through it, which we will, and when we're able to get through it and we start a new season, I cannot imagine what that opening day or that first game is going to be like. It will be like nothing we've really ever been a part of, because we've never been through anything like this.
And